Bloody, bloody blood sacrifices. Bloody. Sorry. Okay. This is your Miyaku Weeps. I'm going to be talking about blood sacrifices in the TaNaK, what people commonly call the Old Testament, even though it's not. Well, I mean, it's kind of old, but I'm kind of old. Not as old as that, but it's actually a covenant. It's not a testament. Testament is something about like after you've died, like what you give to people after you've died. I think that's what it is. It's talking about after you've died. And the covenant is not dead, and it's not dying. So it's a misnomer, Old Testament misnomer, big misnomer. But anyways, blood sacrifices. Okay, starting out, Yahweh. Okay, Yahweh creates the two Adams. He creates Adam, and then he splits Adam in two to make a male Adam and a female Adam. And the female Adam later gets called Hawa, who people commonly call Eve. But he makes the two Adams, and then he gives them an instruction. Well, before he splits the two Adams, there's one Adam, and he gives that Adam the instruction. Don't eat from these trees. This type of tree, don't eat from that tree. Because when you do, dying, you'll surely die. So you'll start to die, and eventually the process will get completed, and you'll be dead. You'll be no more. It'll be the end of time for you. So don't eat from these trees. You can eat from all the other trees. All the other trees you can eat from. Eat to your heart's content. Have as much as you want, as much as you need. Lots of good stuff. Eat from those trees. Eat as much as you want. Just don't eat from these particular trees. They're not good for you to eat from. So anyways, he gives him the instruction. Then he splits the Adam in two and makes the male and female Adam. Then the Nahash, the shining one, comes along. Shining one or serpent. Both terms, it can get translated to either one. So if you want to say it's a shining one or a serpent, however you want to do it. But the Nahash starts lying to Hawa. Now know that no lying has ever gone on before. So this is the first time lying has come into existence. So as far as I can tell from the text, no lying has ever happened before. So the concept of lying was unknown as far as I can gather. So he deceives Eve, or Hawa, or the second Adam, meaning that she didn't realize what was going on. She was deceived. She didn't realize that things were going bad, okay? So the Nahash deceives the second Adam. Then she eats from the fruit, and the male Adam, who was with her, eats from the fruit too, okay? Now, since everything happens according to Yahweh's purposes and plans, and since Yahweh is the one that determines people's destinies and determines how things are going to go, their eating from the fruit happened according to Yahweh's plan, even though their eating from the fruit violated his instructions to them. So they eat from the fruit, and then after finding out, questioning them and telling the Nahash and Adam and Hawa, giving basically rebukes and instructions to the Nahash and Adam, the male and female Adams. The male and female Adams had covered themselves with lousy, flimsy excuses of fig leaves that weren't adequate. And Yahweh goes, no, you're getting covered like royalty, and covers them in royal robes, and I think it says skins. Now, you can ask, okay, where did the skins come from? My good friend Carlos Gomez submitted a conjecture that possibly Adam and Hawa did not have skins before this, that they were covered by the awesomeness of Yahweh. That's what they were, covered by the awesomeness of Yahweh. And then when they violated Yahweh's instructions, their covering went away. They were uncovered. So maybe before Yahweh clothed them with skins, they didn't have skin. They were just covered by the awesomeness of Yahweh. That's one possibility. Another possibility is that they did have skin, but Yahweh covered them with additional skins, which were probably from the skins of animals. And so Yahweh may have killed the animals. Wouldn't that make Yahweh a killer? Well, that's a non-issue because Yue kills everything. I mean, anything that dies only dies because Yue kills it. Only dies by the mind of Yue, that he chooses for it to die, so it dies. You and I and everyone else, unless something happens, some prophetic event, future event happens that makes it so that we don't have to die, we're going to die, according to Yue, because that's what he purposed to have happen for each one of us. We will die, and it's according to Yue. So he's a killer in as much as he takes our lives and takes the lives of animals, but he's not a murderer because he's not even human. Only a human can be a murderer because you'd have to be like killing your equal, murdering your equal. Murder has to do with like the intention to do harm, the intention to take the life of another. But Yue has no others. Yue has no equals. The Creator has no equals. We are all His creation. So He has the right to do with His creation, what He chooses to do. Now, since we're sentient beings with a consciousness and a mind, that you could make a strong argument to say that if Yue decided to blot us out of existence, that he would be immoral for doing so, because we have a consciousness and a mind. Now, animals, from my understanding, do not have consciousness. They don't realize that they're alive. They have a brain that functions, but they don't have consciousness. So, killing animals, as much as I don't like it, because I don't like killing anything, but I mean, that's just because of who I am. But it's not immoral in the same way that taking another human being's life is immoral, as in murder. Now, self-defense, that's a whole other issue, but I'm not going to go into that right now. But, so yeah, Yue takes lives, and he is not a murderer. He is the life giver and the life taker. But since there's all kinds of verses that illustrate that he will ultimately redeem everyone, and give everyone life that has no end, that stretches beyond the horizon, no end in sight, that he can't be immoral anyways. And actually, he's really, really good, because he makes creations that he doesn't have to make. He didn't have to make you, he didn't have to make me, any of us. But he chose to, and he chose to make it so that even though we will die, and even though we have pain and difficulty, the pain and difficulty will not last. Healing will come for you, whether it comes sooner or later, it will come, and you will get life stretching beyond the horizon, and you will get redeemed, and all of your corruption and the dying that you have inherent in you as a person will be done away with, and you will get undying immortality, life. When I say immortality, I don't mean like... I mean, you'll have life that starts and doesn't end. Not life that never starts and never ends. Life that starts and doesn't end. So, in that form of immortality. But the blood sacrifices. So Yue takes the lives of these animals to make royal garments for his children. Now, why did he do that? They violated relationship. They violated life. Because Yue is life, and Yue's ways are life. Yue's character is life. Goodness and kindness and love is life. Violence and hostility and doing wrong to each other and doing wrong to our Creator is death. That leads to death. You're violating reality by doing that. So when you sin, you violate reality, because love is reality, ultimate reality. So you're violating love, or I'm violating love if I do that, when I do that. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so Adam and Hawa violated reality, and they violated life. So they went out, they separated from Yue. And now, not completely separated, because to do that you'd enter into non-existence. But they separated from Yue's character. So they entered into death, so they started dying, and their destination was death at that point. So Yue's making a sacrifice to clothe them, to cover them, so that their wrongdoing Their violation of love is covered over. Now, ultimately, the ultimate covering over of violation of love will be Yeshua HaMashiach. Is Yeshua HaMashiach. Will be for them, because it's future point in them. But for us, it's past. It's already happened. He's already done it. So Yeshua HaMashiach. Now, since Yeshua HaMashiach is a fully human man with human parents, he is the only one that lived Torah, that lived love's instructions, that was the embodiment of love's instructions, that Yahweh chose for him to be the embodiment of his instructions, of love's instructions. So he lived that out. So him dying in place of us as our covering reverses justice. So justice would be that since we violate love, that we be blotted out of existence so that there is only love. But Yeshua, who was completely full of love, him dying, well, he could not help but come to life again. Yahweh could not help but bring him to life again because he was perfectly according to Yahweh and his character and perfectly according to love. So it would be a violation of Yahweh and his character if he did not bring Yeshua to life again. He had to bring him to life again. But since he brought him to life again, and since Yeshua is the second Adam, because the first Adam was the progenitor of the entire human race, so all of us come from Adam. And then because Yahweh purposed it this way, all of us come from Adam's violation of love. But Yeshua comes along, Yahweh makes Yeshua come into existence, and he's the fulfillment of Yahweh and is Yahweh's instructions, Yahweh's demonstration of love. And then he is our progenitor now. Now he is the progenitor of the new human race. So with Adam, the first Adam, you will die. You're dying and you will die. That's your destination. But because of the second Adam, Yeshua, you will come to life again, and then that life will be only life. There will be no dying. You will have only life. And the blood sacrifices are actually necessary because sin, violation of love, violation of Yahweh's instructions, is death. It leads to death. It promotes death. It makes death happen. The natural outworking of sin is death. So Yeshua, Yahweh's plan of redemption and rescue and salvation, Yeshua, his natural outworking is life. So when we come under his covering of being according to Yahweh and his sacrificial death, when I say sacrifice, I don't mean like somebody sacrificed him. I mean like actually he kind of sacrificed himself. But Yahweh let him be killed for our sakes because of his great love for us, so that we will enter into life. The life is in the blood. So since there's been violation of Yahweh and his Torah because of sin, sin is the violation, then that leads to death. The natural outworking of that leads to death. It's a violation of love, life, and reality. So the natural outworking leads to death. So the life is in the blood. So our blood will be shed because we violated love, life, and reality. But since Yeshua's blood was shed when he had no violation of life and love and reality, and his blood was shed by human beings for the sake of human beings, Yeshua, out of his great love for Yahweh, shed his blood for the sake of human beings because Yahweh has great love for human beings. Great, great, great love for human beings. So the shed blood and all of the animal sacrifices in the TaNaK, they are all, I mean, of course, they can't take away sin. Yahweh says they can't take away sin. They're illustrations pointing to Yeshua. They're animals that were precious to people. They were people's source of food, and they were pets, and they were livelihood. They were precious animals that were precious to people. So the people, since they violate relationship with Yihweh, in order to make restitution, in order to restore the relationship, they're sacrificing something that's precious to them to restore the relationship. All about relationship. But the pictures that Yihweh said, if you violate my instructions, if you violate love, if you violate reality, you need to do these sacrifices. You need to offer something of your own to restore the relationship. That ultimately pointed to Yeshua, who was the ultimate sacrifice, that Yihweh chose him to be his son. And then Yihweh sacrificed his son, just like Abraham and Yitzhak, how Yitzhak was almost sacrificed. And Yihweh asked him, please, please do this for me. He never asked anybody else, I don't think, to please do something for him. Yihweh never asked please. Yihweh's sovereign, supreme. But for Abraham sacrificing his son, he asked him, please sacrifice him for me. So Abraham was willing, knowing that Yihweh could bring him back from the dead. And then figuratively, he did bring him back from the dead, because he stopped Abraham from sacrificing him, from killing him. So he never allowed any kind of human sacrifice, except for him sacrificing his son, which is totally different than human sacrifice, because it's Yihweh sacrificing. Yihweh sacrificing the one that he loves, the one that was totally according to him and his character. But then, since his son was totally according to his character, he can't stay dead, and he's the means for all of us having life again. So yeah, that's what I see with the blood sacrifices. They're all about sacrificing something, that's sacrificing life that's precious to us. Even though Yihweh won't allow us to sacrifice our own lives, that we sacrifice the lives of animals, that their perception of pain is different, and they have no consciousness. They have life, but not the breath of life. So I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. Well, if anyone has any questions, please leave comments in the feedback. If people have questions and they make me think of what I'm forgetting, because I feel like I'm forgetting stuff about this, I'll post another video. But I hope this has been helpful. Man, I really feel like I'm forgetting something. Shoot. But yeah, I think that's basically what it is. Yeshua, Yihweh is ultimately our covering, and he appointed a human man, Yeshua HaMashiach, to be perfectly according to him, and then be the covering for us all. The covering for our missing the mark. The means of redemption for every single one of us. The ultimate fulfillment of all the sacrifices that were offered in the TaNaK. They all pointed to Yeshua. They all pointed to a restoration of relationship with the one who loves us. The one who purposed for us to walk in error, to be in error, confined and imprisoned us, to be an obstinate refusal to acknowledge or obey, in order to give us this merciful, wonderful, loving, kind gift. And since Yeshua died and suffered the way he did, now we know that in our suffering and death, it's not in futility, and we see that Yihweh will bring us all to life again, just like he brought Yeshua to life again. And in fact, Yeshua was in a much, much, much better state after his death than he was when he was alive as a human being on earth. He had awesomeness to him after he died, after he went through the suffering and pain. So for us, after we go through the suffering and pain and death, we are going to have awesomeness to us coming. And we will get purified, every one of us, whether it's in this life or the next. I can't say for each one of us, but the purification is coming, and beyond the purification will be awesomeness like you can't even imagine. So that's what I see with the blood sacrifices. That's what I see what they were about. They're about recognition of sin and error and violation of reality. Reality, yeah, but violation of Yihweh and relationship, and violation of love and reality and goodness and truth. because that's what sin is. It's violation of love, reality, and truth. But it will get covered over. Yeshua is our ultimate covering. Not ultimate, but he's the appointed covering for us. Yahweh is our ultimate covering. But Yeshua is the covering for each one of us. The most highly exalted human being ever. So, like I said, if I'm missing anything, please leave comments. Feedback, anything would be great. And I hope this has been interesting at least. Hopefully beneficial. And shalom. Thank you very much for watching. Au revoir, sayonara, dos vidanias, slán, auf Wiedersehen, arrivederci, ni hao, sabaidi. Bye. Shalom.